Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to dive into exactly how you transform a simple, static piece of text into a fully interactive digital narrative. Have you ever tried to use digital tools to bring a story to life, only to find that the technology completely hijacked your original vision? Yeah, it happens all the time. But today we're going to fix that. We are exploring the six-room workflow. It's a highly structured, incredibly practical pathway that lets you actually harness the power of artificial intelligence, but without losing your own creative voice to the AI chaos. We'll be looking at the process overview, the practical steps, and a really strong ethical focus that ties it all together. So here is our agenda for this explainer. We'll be entering the workflow, shaping our creative intent, translating those ideas into media, curating our worlds, and finally, looking at what it means to be an ethical digital author.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, entering the six-room workflow. We begin our journey in Room 1.
Now, consider how deliberate these 6 steps are. Seriously, the biggest mistake creators make is jumping straight into generation tools. It almost always results in a totally disorganized mess. This timeline is here to ensure your project doesn't just devolve into a bunch of disconnected technical tasks. It literally forces you to move systematically, step by step, from human intent all the way to digital execution.
And that brings us to the absolutely crucial point of Room 1. Before you even open a web browser, you must anchor your project. Let's use a hypothetical deep-sea submarine story as an example. To anchor this story, you sit down and physically annotate your text for tone and imagery. Then, you record a raw, initial vocal performance reading that exact text. This establishes a strictly human baseline. You are staking your claim on the story before the algorithms ever get a say.
Right here in Room 1 is where we naturally introduce our first foundational pillar. It's called the bridge. The whole idea is that this workflow has to be accessible to everyone. So if you're working on that submarine story and you need guided annotation frames to help map out that dense, pressurized underwater atmosphere, the bridge ensures they are right there for you. Providing text and audio formats together right from day one reduces that digital friction and guarantees equal access to the creative process.
And before we even think about leaving Room 1, we hit our second foundational pillar, ethical AI transparency. You are absolutely required to document this purely human, unedited starting point. You might be wondering, why does this matter so much? Well, because transparency directly improves the quality of your final project. By explicitly recording where your raw ideas end and the digital assistance begins, you maintain absolute control over the narrative's authenticity.
Moving right along to Section 2, shaping your creative intent. Let's step into Room 2.
Room 2 is where you draft a clear intent statement. Think of this as your project's creative constitution. For our deep-sea expedition, you wouldn't just jot down the word underwater. No way! Your intent statement outlines that the story requires a claustrophobic heavy mood. It dictates that you need the low, rhythmic hum of submarine engines and visual styles dominated by crushing blacks and metallic grays. It gives your upcoming digital media a deliberate, undeniable purpose.
Taking the time to document that intent is a massive quality booster. Think about it. If you just type the word ocean into an AI generator, the algorithm might just hand you a bright, sunny beach. But with your human baseline established, your documented intent guarantees the AI serves your specific vision. In this case, a dark, pressured, terrifyingly beautiful underwater trench. You are the director. The AI is just the crew.
Okay, on to Section 3, translating ideas into media. Welcome to Room 3.
This is the active phase. Using a very specific formula for prompt construction, you don't just guess what will work. You take total control. You start by drafting a base prompt. Then, you precisely control the media by swapping out just one single block at a time. For instance, if your submarine hull looks a little too plain, you isolate the lighting variable in your prompt and swap it out for a bioluminescent underwater glow. This step-by-step modular approach is exactly how professionals get the precise results they want.
Now, if translating your abstract idea into a complex digital image feels a bit overwhelming, don't worry. The bridge is actively supporting you here in Room 3 too. It steps in to provide pre-built prompt frames and descriptor banks. These tools help you articulate that incredibly specific deep-sea aesthetic without suffering from blank page syndrome. It's all about empowering you to be highly creative without getting bogged down by the confusing syntax of prompting.
Also, remember that transparency pillar? It continues to be mandatory right here. In this room, you have to maintain an AI usage log to track every single prompt and tool you use. You're logging your attempts to generate both the submarine interior and the ocean floor. And this isn't just busy work, I promise. It's a critical quality control mechanism. It proves that you are actively steering the ship rather than just passively clicking generate over and over until something looks decent.
Next up is Section 4, Curating and Building Worlds. This covers rooms 4 and 5. So exiting the generation phase, the crucial point in room 4 is proving that you are an active editor, not a passive consumer. You actually use side-by-side critiques to justify which images genuinely look like the deep-sea trench you envisioned. And more importantly, you ruthlessly reject any assets that fail to align with your room 2 intent statement. This kind of critical thinking is what separates a truly cohesive story from what is basically just a random gallery of AI art.
And next we move into room 5, and this is where the real magic happens. You assemble all of your curated assets inside a platform like ThingLink. This is where you actually map out the audience pathway. You use interactive hotspots to blend those claustrophobic generated images with your original text. And the absolute best part, you embed that raw human audio recording you made all the way back in room 1. Your rear voice is now the ultimate guide leading the audience through this entire digital deep sea environment.
But let's be real. Building a complex, interactive digital environment can be technically daunting. So the bridge is here for you, again in room 5. It offers simplified file naming conventions and step-by-step build guides. Why? So you can stay completely focused on the narrative logic of your submarine story rather than getting a massive headache trying to figure out exactly where you saved that one audio file from last Tuesday. The support is literally baked right into the workflow.
Finally, we reach Section 5, the Ethical Digital Author. This takes us into room 6.
Your final submission in this workflow is not just the published deep sea experience itself. To truly be an ethical digital author, your project has to include a reflective commentary on your creative choices, plus a formal AI disclosure statement. And you draw that statement straight from the usage log you kept back in room 3. This proves to your audience exactly how the technology served your human vision.
By integrating your reflective choices, your original human voice, your carefully curated visuals, and your transparent disclosures, your final outcome isn't just a basic project anymore. It becomes one incredibly seamless, credible, and ethically produced communicative system. It shows everyone that you understand not just how to use flashy digital tools, but how to communicate responsibly in the modern world.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really vital thought to chew on. If you skip this workflow entirely, if you just jump straight into AI tools and never document your intent, whose story are you really telling? Are you the author, or is the algorithm? By using the 6-room workflow, you reclaim your authorship. So, armed with this structured process, what immersive world are you excited to build first?